Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so, of course, it is that time again, everybody's favourite game mode, explosive lane battle, explosive chain battle. I swear that joke is still funny, I'm going to say it every time. But explosive chain battle is back, the worst mode in the game. And yeah, we've got the new version versus the baby on both versions of the game at the same time, which is pretty cool. One of the things that's always interesting about Chain Battle is because it comes to global usually after JP, much like most things, people already have a good idea of what teams are the best to use because it's only one part of it to know the categories that are the most effective. But one of the things, I guess it's one of the many things that people don't like about Chain Battle is just knowing the categories that are effective. Especially in the earlier ones, there was always these weird combinations of teams or units that were not necessarily the ones that you would think to use, and so obviously the global version coming later than the JP version was always kind of beneficial for us because it gave us a way to know in advance what kind of teams you wanted to be looking out for. But yeah, this one's on both versions at the same time, so it was kind of up to everybody else to discover how this was going to go down. It did come out earlier today, but it didn't drop until it was like half an hour after I started work, so obviously that's why the first video on this is coming out a little bit later. I did have a bunch of attempts and then obviously reset with the stone so I could use the connectors and everything all over again, but waited for the tries to like recharge throughout the day so I could come home and then record this and see if we can hopefully break the current high score. So I got the high score of 104 million. It actually took me quite a few attempts to break 100 million. Funnily enough, on my first attempt I got 99 and something, and after the first bunch of attempts that was the highest score that I had. I tried multiple attempts after that. I think I've used 3 out of the 5 resets for today. And yeah, 104 is the highest that I've got. But I have seen a lot of stuff on Twitter. I think at this point, at the time of recording, Goresh tweeted out a high score of like 132 million. So almost 30 million ahead. So hopefully we can sort something out with that. Because I actually used his connectors, but this was super early on in the game. So obviously it's, you know, a bit random. I've seen actually most recently, let's have a look at the top scores that it's showing now, because I've seen scores of like 140 on global now, and I know Truth put out a video earlier where his current high score was 130, and when he looked at the list of rankings, obviously on JP, there was one there that was like 150. So, I mean, you can see here there's a lot of 120, 130. But the new thing, yeah, this guy's using them as well. So the new thing that seems to have come to the surface as the best strategy for this, and hopefully more people will start changing their friends, because this is the other thing, right? Like Chain Battle gets easier as the days go on, where people start to learn the best combos, because then your friends will actually start to change their teams to the ones that are more useful for you. So for the super type, it seems like the best team setup to use is actually a full team of the GT Trunks, and then obviously you can use him as a connector. The GT Trio LR is the best unit to use as your main attacker, and then for the extreme types you want most of the Vegetas. You can throw a baby or 2 in there, and I did see a really high score one that had the LR Prime Battle Frieza in there as well. So where's the 130 million one that we saw? Yeah, see, look, all the Vegetas, but there's a baby Vegeta in there. And everyone seems to be using the AGL Great Ape Vegeta. So, I mean, you see here, some of the connectors are slightly different, but these two people use the exact same setup. So, we've got a couple of attempts. Like I said, I let my stamina rebuild throughout the rest of the day at work so we could get a couple of attempts on video, see if we can break this high score. Obviously, the most annoying thing about Chain Battle is the fact that you only get the one attempt where you can use your most optimal setup, and then obviously you can't use the same connectors again, so you have to use, I guess, technically slightly subpar ones. But fortunately, because the strategy seems to be going for the Trunkses, there are a couple of them that you can use. So you could use the AGL one as your main connector, and then potentially try out the STR one next or something like that. So you can see here, like, Goresh has changed his to mostly Trunkses, but there are still some of the other ones. Hopefully more people are going to start doing that. But shout out to my boy. I need to see if I can find him on here. But one of my friends from Twitter, Mr. T, has changed his whole setup to GT Trunks'. So unfortunately, the only annoying thing about this is you often need to refresh the screen a bunch of times for it to actually show you the people that are on your friends list. Of course, it's literally, look at that, I've got all these friends, but none of them are the one that I'm actually looking for. It's gonna end up showing me my entire friends list before I manage to find them, isn't it? So I may just cut part of this out if this takes too long, because I really need to find, if we're only going to get the one really good attempt, I really need to find his units. Alright, there we go. Finally managed to find him. Unfortunately, there is a Super Saiyan 3 Goku in there. Actually, there's two, and the GT Goku. So this might not actually be the best setup. It is unfortunate. I can't remember if it's every hour or every half an hour. The list changes. So even using the same friend, the random set of, because obviously you set 10 support type units for each of the Super and Extreme, and it only shows you 6. So that does update over time. So that is something to keep an eye out for. If you see a friend that you know has a really good setup, but it's not giving you a great selection of the units, you can wait. Like I said, I can't remember if it's every half an hour, every hour, but you can wait and then it changes. But we'll go with that for this, because we want to see if we can get a couple of attempts recorded now. Let me see if we can find a good bunch of Vegetas here. Because that's the thing, like I was saying previously, is on the first day when people are still not entirely sure of what the best setup is, you'll often see people who maybe set their connectors straight away as soon as the event came out, and then potentially haven't been back onto the game or haven't looked at like Twitter to see what some of the best setups are. Here we go, our boy Kensei's got a full Vegeta team, so let's try that out here. So if we have a look at the things here, we've got 46, 4 and 26 for the AGL Vegeta. That's really good. And then 26, 2, 31. It always seems to be the case for these, I've noticed with the last couple, that the super types, even though they're the ones that have the majority of the categories that you want, they always seem to be slightly lower than the extreme ones. So 26, 2, 31. Let me just check the STR one. 23, 2, 31. Yeah, so he's worse. And then the tech one is 26, 1, 24. Okay, yeah. So the AGL one's definitely better. Right, so let's go ahead and do this. One of the most beneficial things about this for me, for recording this, is when you switch your account between devices, because obviously I've switched back onto the emulator so I can record on the PC. The first time you play Chain Battle of the day on the new device, it gives you the like mini tutorial thing. So as you can see here, it comes up with the support type units that you can pick the 3 of, but then it automatically pauses the game for you to explain that you have to pick 3 units. So obviously your first attempt on a new device every day is your biggest potential for getting the best score, because you don't have to like be really quick and accidentally click like the wrong units. So obviously we want to go for the Vegetas here. The only thing I'm still not entirely sure about is, one of the things I know you get a bonus for points is having units of the same typing. So obviously here, I want to pick the Great Ape Vegeta and I want to pick the Scouter Vegeta. But then we've got the Int Vegeta, who is a TUR. But then we have the SSR version of the Great Ape Vegeta. So I feel like even though he's only a like level 100 UR, he probably has more links and categories shared with the other two than the Int support Vegeta. So I'm going to go for those 3, and we're going to see what we can get. Obviously I am still limited because I'm using the mouse, so it maybe isn't as quick as it would be if I was tapping it on my phone, but we'll pick those 3 and we'll go ahead and see what we can get. Obviously the goal is to get a really good high score, but if we can beat 104 million on this first attempt, that would be very, very nice, because like I said before, we can still have 1 or 2 more attempts after this, but we don't get to use our best connector. So wow, really, 101? Why is this mode? I don't understand. Like, why is this lower? So like we're using a very similar setup to people that have hit like 130 million and we get 101. So I don't know. That's the problem again. Like I said though, with the fact there was the couple of random Gokus thrown in there. I really don't know exactly what it is that affects the overall score in the way that you like really want it to. But I mean, see, let's see here. There's a couple of Trunkses, but the rest is mostly GT heroes. Yeah, see, we've still got some Super Saiyan 4s in here. I feel like because people were definitely getting scores earlier on in the day of like over 110 and even over 120 million before changing to the like all GT Trunks' setup. So it definitely is possible without doing that. So let's have a look at this one and we'll try out the... see, this isn't even really giving us a lot of the Trunks' to choose from. So 26, 1, 30. And then 25, 2, 26. So you're obviously better. 26, 1, 30. So what's Vegeta? 23, 2, 29. Yeah, so the Trunkses do seem like they are good for the connector role because of the fact that they're I think almost all of the GT Trunkses are on Dragon Ball Seekers as well as GT Heroes. So obviously that gives them the buff. Let's try Goresh's ones here, because he does have all Vegetas, but then he does have both of the babies. So I wonder if this is one of the ones that LR Baby would be good. 39, 4, 16. And then, what's this Vegeta? 34, 4, 21. What about this one? 34, 4, 15. How about Scout of Vegeta? 34, 1, 22. Yeah, see, they're so all over the place. Let's try Baby and see how that goes. Now, obviously, with this one, we don't get the mercy of the game pausing the selection thing for free. So we will have to be quick. Because with the emulator, there is no way like you can on the phone where you can kind of tab out and it pauses the game for you so you can see the units. You can't really do that on the emulator, so you kind of just have to be quick. We got 3 Vegetas again. One of them is the Super Strike one, so I feel like this is kind of similar to the selection that we had on the first one, so not necessarily the best. But then again, Chain Battle is so completely random, who knows, this could be the new high score run right here. So let's see if we can beat 104 million this time. Oh well, there you go, we're not even going to get 100 million this time apparently. So I really do not understand this mode. I mean, you guys know, if this isn't your first rodeo over here on the channel, I'm very much an advocate that the World Tournament is better than Chain Battle. I think Chain Battle is the worst mode in the game by far. And the problem is, you're seeing it here firsthand, is the biggest problem with this mode is so much of it is just unknown. Like, so much of it comes down to RNG, which is something you obviously have no real control over. But even the stuff that you feel, like the stuff that you do have control over, like picking your team, like your friend teams that you want to use, it's never entirely clear, like, which is the best one to use. Because, like, this one here, for example, all of these are the red sparkly units, so the ones that are, like, super effective. So we've got mostly GT Gokus, we've got a couple of Super Saiyan 4s, and then we've got the GT Trio. But if we pick them, like, let's pick LR Goku, for example, 22, 1, 24. I mean, that's not bad, but that's not, like, anything significantly better or higher than the previous runs that we've done already. So, yeah, it's not... yeah, it's not my favourite mode, let's say. Let's just say that. So, are we going to get a decent one here? This one's got a Frieza in it, but we'll see if that one is any good. Although then that just gives me a bunch of Frieza connectors to pick from. The worst part as well, and this happened to me in the previous Chain Battle, I forget who it was against, but the previous one, I remember I sat and went through the teams and the units that were available for ages, and I kept checking the numbers, and I was actually like noting them down, trying to make sure I picked the literal one that was like the highest. And I thought, you know, at that point I was like, okay, this is going to be the one then, because we've got the highest possible team score that we've come across so far. And then it gets to the point where it's in the middle of the fight, and the units that it gave me to pick from were awful, because normally, obviously, you want to try and pick 3 the same, right? So in this instance, we want to pick either like 3 Vegetas or 3 Gokus or 3 Trunkses, and it just gave me a whole bunch of like 2s of different units, like 2 Gokus, 2 Trunkses, 2 Vegetas, 2 babies. And so like in that example, what are you supposed to do? Because really you need to pick 3 of the same character. And yeah, like here we didn't really get a great one. So the 2 Super Saiyan 4s together is good, but then the GT trio, like apart from the fact they're going to share legendary power with the LR and obviously GT, they don't have a whole bunch of links with the other units. So we're still hitting the full power thing, but that's going to happen a lot because pretty much all of these units share a bunch of categories, so it's not a huge indicator. And then yeah, we get 88 million. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll leave it at that for now. Hopefully more people will start to change their teams to being more GT Trunks and more Vegeta focused, but I guess we will have to see how it goes. But let me know down below, what is your current top score? What percentage thing are you in? We need to get to, I think it was like 109 million it said to move up, but that's going to be only into the top 2% at this point. So I think you really are looking at having to have over 120 million if you want to finish in the top 1%. So let me know how you guys are getting on down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.